2019-26, animal control. Ordinance 2019-26, an ordinance amending Chapter 18, declaring the city a bird sanctuary, prohibiting the killing of squirrels and birds, regulating poultry, livestock, and swine, providing for 4-H and FFA exception, providing for removal of dead animals, providing definitions, providing for an animal control officer and enforcement, providing for immunity, authorizing contracting with county or third party for administration and or enforcement of animal control provisions, providing for noisy and nuisance animals, providing for dangerous dogs, providing for impoundment, providing for protection of animals from abuse and neglect, providing for animal abuse registry and restriction on sale to persons listed on registry, providing for spay-neuter program, providing regulations and restrictions for pet shops selling dogs and cats, providing for community cat initiative, providing for property owner liability, providing for kennel licenses, providing for a limit on number of dogs and exception, providing for fines and penalties, providing for hearings and appeals, and providing for an effective date. And this is under Fred this evening.
This is the oft-discussed animal control ordinance. I think this is the second reading. There have been no changes since the first reading. I believe that it accurately reflects what the majority of the commission told me to do.
And you added the language to include the indiscriminate reading in between.
I'm sorry, I didn't do that. It slipped my mind. I added the phrase indiscriminate reading.
Okay, which is up to, they can't breed more than twice a year and or more than 20 puppies per female?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Before I open it up to the public, Commissioner Smith, did you have comments?
Yes, ma'am, I just want to go publicly and comment. At the last meeting, I made a comment concerning the Humane Society. After the meeting, the person that had shared his information corrected me. It was not indeed the Humane Society that I meant to comment on. I actually spoke with Andy Leedy at the Humane Society, and he explained a few things to me that I was confused about, and I discussed some things with him that I was concerned about, and we both came to a good understanding. I also spoke with Jim Sweet from the county animal department, and he mentioned to me that discussing our ordinance, he wouldn't go into great detail, but there were some things that he did like. And even mentioned to me something that I've mentioned about the county ordinance, about how many animals you can have. He's under the impression that if you're in the county, you pretty much have as many dogs as you want. My understanding was 15, I believe it was. But you know, that's something I just haven't understood about the county ordinance. People wanting that for that reason alone. And that's something that, of course, we addressed with the city, not allowing more than 4 pets. He also discussed with me, Mr. Sweet, that he had actually been to the store in Bellevue and their residents on 2 different occasions, and there were minor infractions which were corrected, but he also brought to my attention that I guess he had responded to another call at their residence, and they would not allow him on the property. He said which they would have to get a warrant for, but the way I interpreted from my conversation was, at this time, he doesn't warrant that need to do so. But I did want to publicly apologize for the comment I made concerning the Humane Society, and like I said, me and Mr. Lee discussed that fully, and I've corrected the comments with them.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
I want to just make one comment. I just want to read one line of this ordinance before we get started. Under section 18-58, sale of dog and cats. The sale by pet shops of puppies bred in or provided by a puppy mill is prohibited in the city of Bellevue. To prevent the sale of puppies from puppy mills, sellers shall provide a valid certificate, and it goes on down. But it makes it very clear under section 18-58 that if you are in the city of Bellevue, you cannot sell dogs from a puppy mill. That's all I want to say before we get started.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm gonna open it up for, public hearing, although when we're making clarifications, Fred, would you do me a favor, because there seems to be a lack of comprehension, in the public as to what we are proposing regarding tethering. Could you take just a moment and explain to the audience what is proposed in this
The
ordinance?
tethering ordinance that is proposed here is exactly the same as Marion County's. There is no difference between it and the counties. I think that's the most important thing that needs to be said. I'll go to the section
Yeah,
and
could you
review this.
just
if you like.
review it just really quickly, and concisely, because it does seem to be a complete lack of understanding that section.
The first thing is, if you go to definitions, which are found on page 13 of the 41-page ordinance, tethering shall mean a cord, rope, cable, or chain not exceeding 1/16 of the animal's weight, with a length that is at least the greater of either 5 times the length of the animal measured from nose to the tip of its tail, or 10 feet, attached with a swivel hook to the animal's buckle-type nylon or leather collar, harness, or halter on one end, and attached to a stationary object with a swivel hook or trolley assembly on the other end. The trolley cable must not be elevated more than 7 feet above ground surface. Tethering shall mean the restraining of a dog by the means of any type of tether as defined herein to any fixed object or structure, including but not limited to a house, garage, fence, post, motor vehicle, trailer, shed, weight, ground anchor, or boat. Tethering shall not include the use of a leash to walk a dog, or to forms of restraint used in the transportation of a dog. Now that also mirrors the county's ordinance that has been recommended to you by so many. And I'm sorry, I'll have to go to the tethering.
It's okay, take your
I
time.
did not anticipate you were going to ask me that.
I just wanna make sure that it's clear to everybody what we are proposing this evening.
I should have opened my Word copy and I could have just told this thing to go to it.
Okay, I found it. It is on page 20, well, it's in our agenda packet, it's on page 48. It's at the bottom. Kevin, can you pull that up on the screen so that the people in the audience can read that? Thank you.
Page 48, section G.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Hoping you find it.
Thanks. I've read it so many times.
All right.
Really hurt my heart.
Well, what we'll be interested in is also that dogs kept outdoors must be provided with adequate shelter. Adequate shelter means a shelter that is suitable for the species, age, condition, size, and type of each animal, and provides adequate space for each animal. It is safe and protects each animal from injury, direct sunlight, other weather elements, adverse effects of heat or cold, physical suffering, and impairments of health. I mentioned that because we're concerned about dogs outdoors, and that is another thing that is, added there. I will. Sorry, I've
or section one, I'm sorry, section G.
The unsupervised unattended outdoor tethering of a dog is prohibited except as provided herein. The dog must be in visible range of the owner or responsible party, which person must also be outside with the dog at all times, which means you can't tether the dog and go inside and leave the dog unattended. There is authorized the following narrow exception to this condition. And that's obviously you might have to step in to go to the bathroom or something, and so the ordinance provides the dog owner or responsible person may leave a dog tethered outdoors on the property for a reasonable period while such owner or responsible person performs a temporary task indoors. In no event may the owner or responsible person leave the premises while a dog is left tethered unattended outdoors. A dog may never be left tethered and unattended on vacant or abandoned property.
Okay, that's fine, that's the part I wanted to
Talk about the
clarify.
tether itself, so that the dog can't
Okay.
escape. And earlier on in definitions, you can't put heavy chains on the dog.
Thank you for clarifying that. I hope that clarifies that for the members of the audience, because I know there's been a lot of confusion for some reason about that section. With that, we're gonna go ahead and move into the public portion of the meeting. We're gonna start with Ms. Cindy Polson, who has requested to be on the agenda. And Ms. Polson, you will have 5 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record, and before you speak, sign in with,
Dave, bring me one.
do you have a sign-in sheet?
Thank
Sandy over there. If you could sign in with Chief Holland, and then also state your name and address for the recorded record.
Cindy Colson, 11323 Southeast 55th Avenue, Bellevue. The debate continues over if we have retail stores in Bellevue that are fronts for puppy mills. There is and has always been an easy and fair solution. I'm asking you, the mayor and the councilman of the city, to request a tour, not of the retail store, but a tour of every part of the property where these people breed these dogs. They claim they have nothing to hide. They're not a puppy mill operation and talk about love all the time. We need a tour of the entire property, nothing off limits, and most importantly, not on very short notice, or on very short notice. Because after all, they have nothing to hide. They could prove to the general public once and for all that they're not running a puppy mill type operation. Open up the tour of the breeding property to the mayor of Bellevue, the city, county commissioners, the photographer, and animal control before you make a decision. If they are not a front for a puppy mill, this will bring them positive attention and increase their sales. If the puppy mill breeding and any form of neglect exists, then we need to address this for the sake of the animals, because they are a puppy mill where these dogs come from.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the front row who would like to speak before the commission this evening? Okay, we're gonna move to the second row. Is there anyone in the second row who would like to speak before the commission this evening? If you could please sign in with the chief and state your name and address for the physical record, and as a Bellevue resident, you will have 5 minutes.
Captain Nardelli, 10470 Southeast 41st Terrace. Mayor, Commissioners, I come here to speak at every meeting about the rights of the Bellevue animals, but it seems to fall on deaf ears. Why can't we get the same amount of concern regarding the welfare of our animals as you have allotted to waste management in the hour discussion of our neighbors putting compost and non-compostable bags, or the lengthy discussion on the size of the trash cans? Why can't you put the same importance on animal welfare that your constituents here in Bellevue are concerned about? Why is trash disposal more important than the welfare of our animals here in Bellevue? And since I have a little more time, again, I'm gonna ask, who enforces the laws here in Bellevue? When you put the law, the animal ordinances, who enforces them?
Ma'am, this is an opportunity for you to speak before the commission this evening.
Yes. And I
Did you wanna
am
add
speaking.
anything else?
And I was
It's
asking
not,
for
under
names.
Robert's Rules of Order, it's really not designed to be a dialogue. Sometimes we can allow that, but we've answered these questions before, so if you have anything you would like to
Somewhat.
tell
I
us.
do actually. So local government is mandated to enforce state laws, county laws, and city laws. Mandated. So, again, there's nothing in the ordinance of how, here in Bellevue, you're going to enforce any of these laws. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the second row who would like to speak before the commission this evening? Okay. Yeah, sure. This one, go ahead.
I'd like to make one comment, while she's coming up here. This is our animal ordinance, 67 pages long.
Yes, I have read it, thank you.
I don't know if you
I-
find another city that has that much of an ordinance. So we are concerned, and we do take care of it.
So if you're speaking to me, may I come up and please address, because he is speaking to
Ma'am,
me.
can you please sit down? Ms. Shaw's turn.
But he is speaking to me.
Please be seated, Ms. Minardelli. Thank you. Ms. Shaw, if you could please, state your name and address for the record.
Sandra Shaw, 2309 Northeast 37th Street, Ocala, 34479. I mean, if he wants to answer that question for her, that's fine.
My understanding is he was explaining something to her. I don't think you had a question for her.
Okay, well, I have a question.
Okay, well, we're not entertaining questions. Under Robert's Rules of Order, you have the opportunity to come before the commission and tell us how you feel about what is going to be voted on this evening. It's not a back and forth dialogue between the commission and the constituents.
Okay, yet again, with the puppy mill, okay? In the last 2 weeks since our last meeting, another puppy came down ill that ended up at UF that came from this puppy place, okay? There is no breeder, which means that it is her dog, okay? They have to list the breeder, okay? And being no breeder, it is her dog, okay? Marion County has told them they are not allowed to breed anymore, but yet it looks like they're still breeding. So we would like to know, seriously, how you're gonna stop puppy mills when you keep putting it back on Marion County. We're gonna go back to Marion County, but this is in your city limits. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the second row who would like to speak before the commission this evening? If you could please sign in with Chief Holland and then state your name and physical address for the record.
Lisa Cohen, 1215 Southwest 23rd Place, Ocala. He's very upset because I've been watching this whole thing that's been going on. And it's very sad that there's so much support for stopping this puppy mill operation. And it continues to go. And there is animals, it is a long list of complaints of people getting these sick puppies for $1,200, going back and wanting their money back, and being told that they can take another puppy. If that doesn't satisfy them, that's all. They bought the puppy, it's their fault. Whatever, they killed the puppy. So it happened again. Recently, someone moved to our area and bought a puppy. And you know what? That puppy died. And they had nothing to say against that. So you can look it all up. I don't understand why there isn't a surprise visit to that puppy mill, because it is a puppy mill. Everyone knows it, but you deny it. And you don't care about the animals. It's very sad, because there are many cities throughout Florida that have already put this ordinance in place, where there's no retail sales of puppies or kittens. It is a fact. Our shelters are all over full. Humane Society, Marion County, every one of them are over full. If people want to get an animal, they can go to that specific breed rescue and get an animal or a puppy any day of the week. There's no reason for this.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in that row who would like to speak before the commission this evening? Okay, we're gonna move to the next row. Is there anyone in the next row back who would like to speak before the commission this evening? And please sign in with the chief and then state your name and address for the audio, please.
Mr. Lowen, Ocala, Florida, 76 Honorable Ocala, Florida. There's not much to say except I'm saddened by what you guys are doing. You built the puppy mill, you don't care. The people of Bellevue, people in Ocala are losing money right and left. UF is benefiting from it because there's so many sick puppies being sold. The people are nasty, the place is dirty, filled with perfume. But yet, here you are, agreeing and letting them go. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in that row who would like to speak before the commission this evening? Is there anyone in the following row that would like to speak before the commission this evening? Okay, we're gonna go to the other side of the room. Anyone in the front row who would like to speak before the commission?
Pamela Moore, 5728 Southeast 109th Street. I'm speaking for the ordinance. I debated whether or not to speak because I'm for it, so hopefully it will pass, but because it's been so negative. You cannot legislate morality. You can put every bit of language in. There's always gonna be something someone likes, there's always gonna be something someone doesn't like. I think that what we have to do as a community is to do our best to set guidelines that are acceptable to all of us. Number one, this ordinance clearly defines a puppy mill, which I think is great. It not only addresses the physical condition of the animal, but also the psychological and emotional effects of the animal, which I think is wonderful. I think it also gives you a clearly defined area in order to report problems. So if you see an issue, if you believe that someone is selling a puppy from puppy mills, if you think that the store is a puppy mill, number one, you don't buy from it. Don't recommend that someone buy from it. You make your complaint and you follow up on your complaint. If you make a complaint to the city, this is a puppy mill, they sold this, I have a complaint, then follow up. I think that this ordinance is very well written. I like it a lot. But I think that it's the individual's responsibility to follow up, not just allow the commission to, I think that the commission has done what they need to do for the community, and then the individual needs to follow up from there.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in that row who would like to speak before the commission? Is there anyone in the back row who would like to speak before the commission? Okay, is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak before the commission on this ordinance before we close the public portion? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and close the public portion, and I'll turn it back to the commissioners.
Mayor, for discussion, we can discuss first before we do any other. I like and appreciate the point that was brought up of who and how we will enforce the ordinance. Who would be good best to explain that? Shauna?
Shauna, can you explain it?
I think that would be the first step, is to call code enforcement and complain, and then we will follow up on the agencies that enforce whatever the issue is, and work with Marion County as well.
And we are set to meet with the county to come to an agreement to give their assistance also.
Correct. We have a meeting with them on Monday, and we'll keep this on the agenda.
Because the point I wanted to make with that, is the subject comes up of, if we pass this ordinance, who's gonna enforce it? It will be the same people, the same process that it would be if we adopted the county ordinance. if we were to go that direction that the county has, allowing the sale of rescue puppies only, it's gonna be the same code enforcement, it's gonna be the same people, it's gonna be the same process. Nothing changes. Nothing would stop someone if they wanna do illegal sales of puppy mill puppies to, and I've said this before, start a rescue and sell the puppies as a rescue. That's why at Push trying to, and our attorney has done a great job of spelling this out in our ordinance. Addressing the issue of sick puppies being sold. Again, I mentioned beforehand that I spoke with Mr. Sweet from the county, I spoke with Mr. Leedy from the Humane Society, and they both explained to me that very often they adopt out dogs and they get sick. Mentioned in one of the earlier meetings that a friend of mine got a puppy from the Humane Society. The very next day it got sick. Took it back and they offered to give him another puppy. And the lady explained that they would euthanize it. So it's gonna happen with the Humane Society animals. There's gonna be the occasion that a puppy gets sick. And so many times has been mentioned about this store. And trust me, I've never been in the store, I've never met the people. I believe one time I spoke to a lady that was in Bailey Plaza. I honestly don't remember if it was the same lady or not. I think Miss Wilson, I don't remember. But so much of the complaints have been about the store. We as a commission have to write a ordinance to cover the whole blanket of the issue, not just a store. And that's why the attorney put in there the part of not being able to sell puppies from a puppy mill. And I understand completely the possibility of the puppies coming from a puppy mill. I'm not blind to that. I don't think any of us are. But we have to go through the process. If we get complaints, we follow up on it. Just like if we adopted the county ordinance and there was a problem with rescue dogs, we would have to follow up on complaints. And I will be the first to sit up here and make a big issue if we continue to get complaints about the store or any business, and they turn out to be legitimate complaints. I'll be sure that it's enforced to the full length. But I think that's how we all feel.
Yes, sir.
Shonda, this is directed towards you. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I received an email from one of these ladies, and it says that animal control no longer allowed in Bellevue unless the police or code enforcement call them, and they won't. I have been asking over and over for months for people to please attend the meetings at Bellevue City Hall. This person is saying that our code enforcement will not contact the county.
We contact them quite a bit, and anytime we have issues that warrant calling, Marion County, we do. So I'm not sure where that's coming from.
We do also.
Yes, and I was about to say that.
I spoke to Jim Sweet the other day, Chief, and he actually was very complimentary of our police department's communication with animal control. He said that you guys are awesome and that he coordinates with you all the time. And so,
We just reported one today, as a matter of fact.
Thank you.
Well,
Well, you guys know I'm gonna vote no, obviously. Sean,
yes, sir.
the Friday before Thanksgiving, somebody called me in reference to the puppy that people moved into town, they bought the puppy and had to go to UF. That was a Friday, so they're to call the police department to file a complaint? Or are they supposed to call Marion County, because the code enforcement's not open on Friday, right?
Correct,
So,
yeah, and as of right now, they still have to go through the city, so yes, that would be the best way to go about it.
Who's the contact on weekends and Fridays, contact chief?
Yeah.
Well, that's been a kind of a contention, sir. I mean, we do not have the capability of animal enforcement.
Right.
We rely on Marion County for that.
Yes.
The big, contention there is the citizens can't call them directly. Somebody from the city has to call them, and then they just take it over. But, we've never had any problems. As soon as we call them, they respond and take care of the issue. I wish we could eliminate that middle call, and maybe we can work on that.
That's what's
at
on
the
the
county meeting.
agenda of our county meeting. I talked to Mr. Sweet yesterday on the phone, and I spoke to him today in the county commission headquarters, and he, at both times, adamantly and sincerely told me that he is willing to do whatever the city of Bellevue needs him to do in order to make this work. Again, he needs permission from the county commissioners in order to accept the calls from the citizens on the weekends, and that's why it's on the agenda for the county meeting. But whether or not we adopt the retail model that the county has is completely and totally irrelevant to whether or not people can call the county on the weekends, because the county wouldn't enforce that anyway. That's something to be enforced by our code enforcement.
So you have to wait till Monday.
The sick dog issue needs to be reported to the Department of Agriculture.
I have not gotten any of these
Yeah.
complaints.
Yeah, I just need to know where to direct people, because
Yeah.
I'm the one that's getting the complaints.
Fair.
I'm the one that's against the ordinance, so I'm the one that's getting it. I need to know how to direct people. If I need to direct people to the Department of Agriculture, I'll make sure I have their phone
If
number.
it's a sick animal, that's what you would do. If it's a loose or dangerous dog or a dog bite, you need to, if it's on a weekend, you need to contact the police department, and they will contact the animal control.
Any animal complaint currently needs to come to the police department. We're there 24/7. We'll deal with the barking dog, we'll deal with all of them by making sure there
And
is
they
an
do
issue
an
and calling out.
incredible job. They do a really good job.
Yeah, we try to make sure there is a valid complaint before calling Marion Control out, Marion Animal Control, and that's why we have a really good working relationship.
The only portion of our ordinance that didn't match the county in reference to the issues that animal control deals with was the tethering. And now our tethering, if this passes, will match them word for word.
We've called Marion County out a couple times for animal abuse, situations. They handle the whole case.
Yeah, I was just asking, because the people are calling me.
The way it is right now, they just need to be
Where
referred to the
send
police
them.
department.
Where
Until we
to
get
send
the
them issues.
tuning worked out with the county, right now it needs to come to the police department.
And they send us those reports, so we're able to put them in our system and track them, so we try to keep track of all those complaints.
And Mayor, that was my point of when you buy a puppy at a store, or you get a puppy from the Humane Society, there's the possibility of it getting sick.
You don't get $1,200 for a dog from the Humane Society, did you?
No, but what's the state law?
Oddly enough,
Retail puppy.
I received an email in reference to this issue. In the email, there was attached a letter or a report from the vet regarding the health of the animal, and there was nothing in that letter that said the animal was unhealthy. Everything said normal, no nasal secretions, no wheezing, no ectoparasites. I really don't, it was only half of a letter, and so it didn't show the owner's name. The puppy had a different name than the name on the health certificate that was also sent to me with that, so it was rather confusing, because I don't know if it was two different puppies, and again, I only had half the health certificate, but I would love to see the whole report to be able to see what the vet actually said. Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay.
You've been very patient.
I think that the direct answer to your question is exactly what the mayor told you. Before this ordinance was even on the table, the state of Florida has a law that tells what pest pet stores and dog sellers have to do if they sell a sick animal to comply with state statute. And that is to refund the money or provide an exchange of a dog of equal value chosen by the purchaser, not the seller. That's what state law says.
That's right.
Now, everybody can say the state's not enforcing it, I don't know. But our ordinance in section 1843, if you pass it tonight, acknowledges that law and adopts that law in terms of recognizing that it's there. And we've told in the ordinance, pet stores, that they have to post a notice regarding that right provided by state statute. That's in this ordinance. All the questions about enforcement, section 1846 specifically says that the code enforcement department, the public services department, is responsible for enforcement of this ordinance, and that the city can contract with Marion County or any similar entity for administration and enforcement of this ordinance. It is assumed that you're going to have a continuing interlocal agreement with Marion County for much of this enforcement. Section 1867 specifically provides that people who violate this ordinance can be issued a citation and pay a civil penalty up to $500 for the violation. And it can be taken to court for that enforcement pursuant to the ordinance. This enforcement section specifically and identically tracks the Marion County ordinance that was touted to us as the answer to these problems. Last thing that I want to point out is that the only significant difference between this ordinance and the Marion County ordinance that I can see is how you have handled the sale of animals from pet stores. Bellevue's ordinance, code of ordinances, prohibits having more than 4 dogs, except for when you have puppies, and then you have to dispose of them within a reasonable period of time. You cannot have a kennel, or a dog breeding operation in Bellevue. The only way you can have a kennel is to be on agricultural property and get a variance for it, if I'm not mistaken. That's what the code provides. And so this idea of we need to go out and be inspecting puppy mills, there aren't any in Bellevue. And we have no authority to go outside in the county and be inspecting people's property. Call the county if you want property in the county inspected. And so you should instruct Development Services or the police department, if they get a complaint about a puppy mill outside the city of Bellevue, refer that on to the county, because they're the appropriate authority. We are not. That's all I can offer you, to point out where the ordinance addresses the things that have been said in the ordinance.
Thank you for clarifying all of that. Yes, sir.
One quick question. Chief, since the subject was brought up of the sick puppy, let's say somebody goes to the store and they buy a puppy and it gets sick and they take it back and the lady says, no, I'm not gonna give your money back. And you can pick out a puppy or whatever to exchange it, and you don't see one you want, so you want your money back. Would that be something that they would come to you and report for it to go through the right channels?
They could report it to us, and I could advise them they need to contact the state, but it's not something that we are capable of enforcing.
Right.
It's a civil issue that begins with the state agriculture.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 219-26, animal control.
You said 219, you mean 2019?
2019-26.
Second, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Sandy, call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Copeland?
No.
Commissioner Lizzie?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Dutkowski?
Yes. The next item on our agenda is resolution 19-23, residential and small business